For years, Sam Heughan seemed to have everything the world could ever offer. The fame, the charm, the body of a hero, the voice that could melt hearts, Hollywood's perfect man. To millions, he was Jamie Fraser, the noble lover, the Scottish dream. But beneath the glow of red carpets and flashing cameras, Sam was quietly suffocating inside a life that no longer felt like his own. He had become a masterpiece painted by other people's hands, studios, agents, directors, fans. Everyone had a version of who Sam Heughan should be. The rugged romantic, the gentleman warrior, the man who never falters, never breaks, never feels lost. And for a long time, he played the part flawlessly. But every performance, even the perfect ones, comes at a cost. The illusion began years ago, when Outlander first made him a global icon. Overnight, Sam went from a quiet actor walking to set with a cup of coffee to a phenomenon. His face was everywhere: billboards, interviews, fan conventions. Jamie Fraser became a brand. People didn't see Sam anymore, they saw the character he brought to life. He smiled, he waved, he thanked everyone graciously. But inside, the lines between himself and his creation began to blur. He once said in an interview, half joking, "Sometimes I forget who I'm supposed to be, Jamie or Sam." It was meant as humor. But there was truth in it. Behind the charm, he was a man struggling to hold on to something simple: authenticity. Hollywood adored him, but it didn't know him. They wanted the accent, the muscles, the myth. They wanted him to be safe, perfect, predictable. There was no room for mistakes, for weakness, for truth. If he showed doubt, he risked disappointing millions. So he smiled, always smiling, always performing. And yet, when the cameras stopped rolling, when the hotel doors closed and the crowd's cheers faded, Sam often found himself sitting in silence, staring at his reflection, wondering who that man was. Was he still the boy from Balmaclellan who once dreamed of acting because it made him feel free? Or had he become a puppet in Hollywood's theater of perfection? He started writing in journals, quiet entries he never shared with anyone. Words became his escape. On one page he wrote, "I've built a world so polished that I can't find the cracks to breathe through." The cracks finally started to show. Friends noticed the exhaustion in his voice, the way he'd hesitate before accepting new roles. During press tours, he seemed present but distant, polite, kind, yet emotionally elsewhere. One close friend once described him as the loneliest man in a crowded room. Then came the moment that changed everything. During a late-night photo shoot in Los Angeles, surrounded by stylists and lights, Sam was asked to smile like Jamie. He did, out of habit. But the photographer stopped and said, "No, no. You're not giving me the real thing." Something inside him snapped. Later that night, back in his hotel room, he opened his journal and wrote, "I've spent years performing off camera, pretending I'm okay. They love the mask, not the man. Maybe it's time to let the illusion break." That was the first honest sentence he'd written about himself in years. After that, he started questioning everything: his choices, his image, even his silence. Why had he been afraid to speak his truth? Why did he allow himself to be shaped by what others wanted? The more he searched for answers, the clearer it became. He wasn't tired of fame. He was tired of pretending. For the first time, he began saying no. No to interviews that reduced him to a stereotype. No to brand deals that didn't align with his values. No to scripts that wanted another Jamie Fraser instead of Sam Heughan. He started taking control, quietly, deliberately. Producing his own projects. Supporting stories that felt real. Showing fans the man behind the legend. But most importantly, he began to reclaim his own reflection. And on one of those long nights, walking through the empty streets of Edinburgh, he whispered to himself, not as an actor, not as a star, but as a man rediscovering his voice. "I'm tired of being what they need me to be. When do I get to be me?" It wasn't anger. It wasn't rebellion. It was awakening. For years, Hollywood had built an illusion of who Sam Heughan was supposed to be. But that illusion was about to shatter, because the man behind it had finally decided to step into the light. And this time, it would be on his own terms. When Sam finally decided to stop performing off camera, it wasn't a grand announcement or a viral moment. It was quiet, almost invisible. But the change began within him, and once it started, there was no going back. He began to strip away the layers of expectation that had built up over a decade of fame. He stopped agreeing to every request, stopped shaping his words to fit the image that studios and audiences wanted. For the first time, Sam started living as the man behind the myth. The first real sign of this transformation came during an interview that should have been routine. The journalist asked him the same old question: "What's it like being Jamie Fraser?" Sam smiled, but this time it wasn't the polished, media-trained smile. It was tired, honest, human. "It's been an honor," he said. "But Jamie is just one part of me. I've spent so long trying to live up to him that I forgot what my own story was." That sentence went viral, not because it was shocking, but because it was true. People weren't hearing a rehearsed answer. They were hearing Sam Heughan, unfiltered. He later explained that he'd grown tired of the illusion that Hollywood sells, the one that tells actors they must always be perfect, grateful, and silent. "We live in a world that celebrates masks," he said, "but I'd rather show the scars underneath." It wasn't easy. The entertainment world doesn't like when its golden figures start speaking freely. There were warnings from publicists, whispers from executives, even criticism from fans who preferred the fantasy. But Sam didn't flinch. "You can't live your life to please the dream others have built about you," he said. "Eventually, it breaks you." And break him, it almost did. Years of pressure, of constant expectation, had left him exhausted, not physically, but emotionally. So he started over. He began producing his own projects, telling stories that felt honest, raw, and imperfect. He launched creative ventures that carried his own name, not a character's. He surrounded himself with people who saw him not as an idol, but as a friend. One of his closest collaborators recalled the change vividly. "He used to enter a room and everyone would fall silent, waiting for Jamie Fraser," she said. "Now he walks in, laughs, tells bad jokes, spills his coffee. It's like he finally let himself breathe." Fans noticed it too. The man who had once seemed distant suddenly felt real, posting about bad hair days, hiking trips, and quiet reflections instead of polished studio shots. There was vulnerability in his voice, warmth in his words. He wasn't just performing for admiration anymore, he was connecting. Then came the moment that defined everything. During a live Q&A, someone asked, "What's the most important lesson you've learned from fame?" Sam paused for a long time before answering. "That pretending to be perfect is the quickest way to lose yourself," he said. "For years, I thought people wanted a hero. But they just wanted honesty. So here it is. I'm not perfect. I get scared. I get lonely. But I'm finally learning that that's okay. Because finally, I'm me." The audience erupted into applause, but Sam didn't smile for the cameras. He smiled for himself, for the boy who once dreamed of acting, not to be adored, but to tell the truth. In the months that followed, Sam's words became a kind of quiet revolution. Other actors began to echo his message. Interviews became more open, more human. The illusion that Hollywood's heroes had to be flawless began to crumble, just a little, and in that space, something real began to grow. Sam didn't see himself as a rebel. He just wanted peace. He spoke often about gratitude, for the fans, for Outlander, for every opportunity. But he also spoke about boundaries. "Fame is not ownership," he said. "It's a moment that passes through you. What stays is who you are when the lights go out." Now, when people meet him, they often tell him that he seems different, lighter, freer. He laughs and says, "Maybe I just stopped pretending." And in that simple sentence lies the truth of his journey. Sam Heughan didn't destroy Hollywood's illusion with anger or scandal. He dismantled it with authenticity. By daring to show the world that behind the camera, behind the perfection, there's just a man, flawed, passionate, searching, who finally found his own reflection. As he once wrote in his journal, "They built a hero. I just wanted to be human." Now I am. And that's enough. For years, Hollywood tried to define Sam Heughan. But the illusion has finally shattered. And what remains is far more powerful than any role he's ever played: the truth of being himself.